The Book of True Life, Teaching 7 of 366. The Master teaches, the cross of suffering becomes lighter through surrender. Divine Revelations, Mexico, from 1866 to 1950. The Lord says, to those who still do not understand my manifestation, I say to them, this person through whom I communicate is human like yourself, and this seat that you see in the corner of the house of prayer where the spokesman of my word reposes is not the throne of the Lord. The throne that I seek among you is your heart, and I will dwell there when you are able to worship me without idolatry or fanaticism. You are so weak and so inclined toward idolatry that unknowingly you are worshipping me through the spokesmen through whom I communicate, and you regard these places as if they were sacred. However, when you no longer have me in this form, you will realize that these spokesmen were not the most elevated means for my communication. When the divine ray launches upon your fully prepared spirit, instead of descending upon a human faculty, then you will have attained the perfect communication, because there will be no errors or confusion that will mingle with the light of your master. Man, since eternity, was destined to communicate with my spirit under many forms. This that you now have through a human faculty is one of those. If you find imperfection in this word, attribute it to the faculty through whom I communicate, keeping in mind that I have selected these spokesmen from among the humble, ignorant, and lowly, so that my communication through them would surprise you. But when you penetrate into the depth of my teaching, do not be converted into judges of my spokesmen, for I, who speaks to them at every moment through their conscience, am the only one to judge them. Therefore, do not measure with your rod, for with the same you will be measured. He who has been called to be my laborer feels that his heart leads him to come and hear me, and to continue entering these houses of prayer and charity. I say to these who have a premonition of being the chosen ones of this third era, and to those who are already among the ranks of my laborers, preserve my mandates, meditate on my recommendations, and analyze my words, so that you may be strong warriors who will not allow yourselves to be overcome by the hardships. All of you should know that by the end of 1950, I will cease to speak to you in this manner, and that it is necessary for it to be thus, so that you may feel me among you in fullness when you elevate a perfect worship to me from spirit to spirit. With these lessons that I give you, I bring you nearer the time that I announced, so that you may understand the change in you after the end of 1950. By then, you should be strong and prepared, if you are to abide by my will and proceed with your spiritual evolution. You must be on the alert, because temptation will assail you at every moment. Some will be induced to continue indefinitely a phase whose end has been indicated by me, while others, through their lack of preparation and too much vanity, will say that they are listening to my divine word spiritually. But from now on, I prepare you, and I want you to know that I do not speak with human words, but with inspirations, ideas, and thoughts. In order to give you my lessons with human words, I came to communicate through a human faculty. But once the communication of spirit to spirit has been reached, neither will you speak to me with human words, nor will your Father do it with you. If you do not prepare yourselves, rumors will reach your ears that will confuse you, and with them you will confuse your brethren afterward. I am putting you on the alert, so that once these communications are ended, you will not try to practice them again, because it will not be spirits of light that will manifest themselves, but confused beings who will aim to destroy what you already established. On the other hand, he who knows how to prepare himself, who, instead of trying to appear noteworthy, can make himself helpful, instead of anticipating events, can wait with patience. He will clearly hear my teaching, which will reach his spirit by means of the gifts that exist in him, which are inspiration, intuition, presentiment, through prayer, spiritual vision, and prophetic dreams. I prepare you, O my people, so that you will not violate my law through ignorance. I open your eyes to the light of truth, so that you may understand the great responsibility that weighs upon you, and at the same time realize how infinitely delicate your mission is within this work which I have entrusted to you. I want that your obedience makes you worthy of my protection, and not that through your errors, incomprehensions, and disobediences you would expose yourselves to the justice of men to detain your steps on earth. Truly, I say to you, that he who does not comply with my law, which exists in his conscience, will not reach me. But I also say that it would be sad if you strove so hard to sow, and when the moment to reap came, you were disappointed with your harvest, because you would see that what you accomplished was for your body, and nothing toward the perfection of your spirit. O my people, do not weep when you hear me speak thus. Do not think that I am unjust when I make demands, nor should you attribute these words to the spokesman with a hardened heart. I know that I have reason to prepare you and keep you on the alert. I want to leave you among humanity, so that you may save many who walk in darkness, for they are unable to see the light of truth. But if you do not attain the preparation that you must have to rightfully be called my disciples, do you believe that a blind man can guide other blind people? Truly, I say to you, that only he should speak of virtue who has already practiced it along his path and knows how to feel it. Be watchful and pray, O my people, in order for the sense of responsibility to awaken in you, so that you may be able to listen to the voice of your conscience at every step, and thus feel that you have penetrated the era of light, in which your spirit must awaken and be attentive to my mandates. The future generations will regard you as fortunate, unknowing that you were chosen to establish the foundation of a new humanity, the forerunners of my teaching of the third era. Everyone has experienced pain at this time, and your heart, moved in its most sensitive fibers, has returned to me once its sorrow has been alleviated and is ready to follow me. A single one of my words has been enough for you to realize that it is I who speaks in this manner. That hunger for tenderness and love that you presented to me has disappeared, and you long only to preserve my grace. But many will not know how to interpret my manifestations, that in different forms I am imparting to humanity. nor will they understand my word, and that ignorance will be like a veil over their eyes, that will prevent them from contemplating my truth. If you wish to find me, seek me in the silence, in the humility of your inner temple, and there you will be in communication with my spirit, and I will feel loved and venerated by you. Do not imagine or wish to see me in any object. Do not build with ostentation any house of prayer to dedicate to my worship. Wherever you are, you may elevate your spirit. If you wish to gather, a humble dwelling will be sufficient for you to assemble. And when you have erected the true sanctuary within your heart, thus you will teach your brethren to build it also. You manifest your poverty to me. You tell me that you do not possess any blessings on earth. But remember that I have given you peace, love, spiritual elevation, which constitute a greater treasure. To be strong, the prudent Israel, and when you feel inspired by my spirit, speak to your brethren about me. Heal the sick, strengthen the weak, protect the defenseless, and in doing these things you will know the wealth which exists in your spirit. Then you will feel fortunate. The last ones will take great steps of progress along this path, and should prepare their way from this day forward. When this time arrives, give me thanks, and testify before your brethren that my word has been fulfilled. Do not hold anyone back in their spiritual progress, for it is my will that this humanity evolve in a short time. I receive your accomplishments, great or small. I give you my strength, and I comfort you in your afflictions. Your tears are the best watering that you can provide for your sowings. Just as a mother lays awake and in silence sheds tears for the misunderstanding of her children, so will you keep watch and suffer for those whom I have left under your care, that I may be able to say to you, Blessed are my servants. Blessed are the sowers of the perfect seed. I welcome you, wanderers. I welcome you, sowers. You are withdrawing from superfluous practices to follow your Father, knowing that the reward for your efforts is not on earth. You are satisfied with the vicissitudes of life. Blessed are you. You have not asked me for rich food. You have been satisfied with a crust of bread. Blessed are you, for you have proved that you are not pursuing an earthly cause, but have demonstrated that you are following the footsteps of Jesus of Nazareth. You have not been intimidated by the ordeals, and in truth I say to you, I have placed a cross upon each one of you. All your afflictions, everything that men have taken from you, your scarcity, the suffering that each and everyone carries within his heart, that is your cross. You have carried it with patience, and your meekness is worthy of a reward. He who seeks only what pertains to the world is not with me. You attain the goods of the earth with your material work, but you only achieve the goods of the Spirit through preparation and spiritual fulfillment. I am your master, and I say to you, since you are already bearing your cross with patience, do not leave it halfway. Whoever wants to be whole will carry his cross to the end of the path of life. Anyone who does not accept it will make his cross heavier, and it will appear unbearable to him. If you want your fulfillment in my teaching to be meritorious, bear your sufferings with patience. And in the case of the one who says to me, Master, I do not carry a cross with me, I say that he is only bearing a burden of lacking submission, but this is not my will. What do you have to show me? Which is the seed that you cultivated? Which are the fields that you have worked on and made fertile through your fulfillment? The time in which the seeds are perfected has not yet come, but I don't want to discourage you. I teach you so that you may attain the greatest of elevations. Do not forget that the harvest will be in accordance to your sowing. If the wheat you sow is death, you will reap nothing. If you sow little, you will reap little. Therefore, dedicate yourselves to your sowing, and you will earn yourselves a reward for the future. The ripe fruit will be in my granary. I leave you the 7 ears to grow. I will demand the fruit of the first, the fruit of the second, and so on, to the very last. And when all are of good taste, the harvest will be perfect. But what are these ears of wheat that I speak of to you, beloved disciples? They are the 7 virtues of the Spirit. Strengthen yourselves. The balm has been with you, and I have given my light to your spirit. People will come to investigate you, but I will give them evidence through your mediation. Woe to him who is not prepared, for they will doubt him and the Master. I'm making you strong for the moment of trial, but why are you surprised once the time for it has come? Was my word not prophetic? That is why I say to you, get ready, my people, for on your way you will meet the hungry wolf, who wishes to catch you off guard in sheep's clothing. But if you are vigilant, you will expose and defeat him with your weapons of love. Men will seek your weaknesses in order to lead you astray. Just as they scrutinized the Master in the second era, so will they do to you. But I awaken you, prepare you, and give you intuition. In lands near and far, you will spread my word. I will prepare new laborers so that the tree will not remain unattended after 1950. Do not feel fear before men, for truly I say to you, I will speak through your mouths. I will bear witness of my word through you, and its echo will reach the confines of the earth. The influential, the insignificant, the heads of state, the scientists, and the theologians. Mankind will behold in you the messengers of the Holy Spirit. You will convert imperfection into perfection. Your word will be gentle, filled with tenderness, and through it the sick will be healed, and he who has strayed from the pathway will repent for his faults and will return to me. Today, you are my disciples. Tomorrow, you will become teachers to set a good example for mankind. I will see you approach the fountain of love and wisdom, with your heart filled with joy, and I will say to you, come and quench your thirst. And when you are satisfied and have raised yourself to me, you will behold me, indicating the pathways of the world, where the thirsty multitudes await your arrival. The Father has named you the sons of light and peace, and you should justify that name with your deeds. Only thus will you be able to bear testimony of me. Woe to the one who, feeling himself endowed with virtues, would allow vanity or selfishness to lodge within his heart, for his downfall would be imminent, and it would be very painful. The fruit which I have given you to share with your brethren has a taste that you cannot confuse, nor should you exchange, if you do not wish your work to be sterile. I do not want you to proclaim that you love me. I desire that with your deeds you leave an impression of love, charity, and faith. Whenever you arise, proclaiming that you are my elect, I will put those to a test who are closest to me and who serve me best, as I did with my apostles at the Sea of Galilee. Then you will know if you truly love me and if your faith is firm. He who wishes to follow me must be humble. Obedience to my law is humility in your spirit. He who is obedient is invested with my grace, while the one who proceeds by his own free will, believing to bear his inheritance with him, truly has deprived himself of his gifts. Day by day, I have come to indoctrinate you, preparing you for the struggle, for soon I will cease to speak to you by this means, and it is necessary for you to be strong to withstand the ordeals. Know how to be with me, learn to carry me within your heart, and in your trying moments, you will behold me performing miracles through you. Understand how much I want to say to you, so you will not think it is impossible to carry my teaching within you. Interpret my words well, so that you may take another step along the path of your spiritual perfection. Would you be capable of forsaking everything to come after me, like those who followed me closely in the second era? Or will you try to imitate the prodigal son of my parable, who left his father's home in order to go to the other lands and squander the inheritance which was given to him? You are pensive, not daring to answer me. But do not fear, for if I have called you, it is because I know that you love me, and that you will follow me to the end of the journey. If what you fear is losing your life, or suffering sacrifices in blood, I can tell you now that you will not encounter these ordeals in your spiritual struggle. The earth has already been made fertile since the second era with the blood of the Master and that of his disciples. Your worth will be that you give fulfillment to the spiritual law without forsaking your obligations toward the material life. I do not ask everyone for the same renunciation, nor are all capable of the same sacrifice. During that time, my disciples had to dedicate themselves completely to the work that I came to entrust to them. And for that purpose, it became necessary for them to leave their parents, children, wives, and all their earthly possessions. On the other hand, while teaching the multitudes, I taught them that in order to comply with the life that the Creator endows, it is essential to render to God that which is God's, and to Caesar that which is Caesar's. That humanity of that time was materialistic, and at the same time less evolved. That is why I said to the multitudes, "Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from God." You are also a materialistic humanity, but at the same time evolved, more capable of giving your spirit what it needs and to your human life what it demands. You are not new to my teaching, for if that were so, I would have given you my law engraved in stone, as I did during the first era. But if I have come to speak to you about spirituality, and to reveal the mysteries which were not explained to men of those times, that is an indication that you already were my disciples during previous times. Behold the reason why sometimes I say to you, they and you are the same. A parable. In a distant land, there lived a father with one of his sons, whom he loved dearly. The son became ill, and the father, seeing his life in danger, took him to an esplanade where an old man ruled the destinies of that region, and upon arriving before him, he spoke to the old one thus: "My son is ill, and my greatest wish is for him to be healed, for if he dies, I will also die of grief." The Old One said to him, "Your son will be healed, and he will return to your region full of life and strength." And on pronouncing these words, he touched the ailing one, and he was healed. On returning to the region, the father beheld his son robust and healthy. Time passed, and that son, feeling strong, arrogant, and directing his steps along crooked paths, took poisonous fruits which weakened his body and spirit. He was indifferent to his father, and he harbored only feelings of hatred and destruction. His father, on beholding him lost in that abyss of wickedness, went to the esplanade and said to the Old One, "Good man, my son has taken a devious path, which has plunged him into an abyss." "Why do you weep?" said the Old One. "I weep because of the perversity of my son. I have waited for his spirit to be lifted from this world, but that moment has not come, and I cannot stand his wickedness any longer." The Old One answered, "You asked that he live, and he lives. It was already time for his footsteps to cease upon earth. But behold, you should learn to ask and be satisfied with my will." End of parable. O beloved Israel, I am always just in my determinations. Why do you want to intervene sometimes in my high designs? Are you not aware that those who depart to the spiritual realm penetrate a true life? Do not be opposed. On the contrary, help them to depart with your conformity, so that their transition from this world to the next can be filled with firmness and spiritual understanding. Seek me as the Father. Recognize my love, my wisdom, and my justice. Come to me through the elevation of your prayer, your faith, and your good deeds. My peace be with you.